Hey, they say the moon landing was fake. JFK, man, they wanted him erased. Aliens in bunkers, government lies, chemtrails painting secrets in the skies. It's a co-host, dual voice or the code, digging through the chaos down every dark road. New world order, we taking names. Bigfoot's real and he knows the game. Conspiracy chaos where the truth gets wild. From pyramids to lizard kings in exile. They hide it all, but we pull the thread. So buckle up tight, it's all in your head. Conspiracy chaos where the truth gets wild. From pyramids to lizard kings in exile. They hide it all, but we pull the thread. So buckle up tight, it's all in your head.
This is Conspiracy Chaos. Truth, fiction, or both? Let's dive in.
Let's go. We're back with another episode of Conspiracy Chaos. My name is RGB. Joining me as always, got my co-host Area 51, Anthony, and Florida Mike. And what's up, brother?
Hey, Raj, what's going on, buddy? How you doing this evening?
Doing good, man. Just chopping it up, getting these episodes out, trying to bring the best content we can. Florida Mike, what's up, bro?
Oh, clear skies and no poison in my food today, so it was a good day.
There you go. I think it's fucking with your internet a little bit, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
We'll get through it. We got a fun one today, guys. We're going to be joined by the one and only Doc Brown, Prometheus Lens. Doc, appreciate you jumping on and taking the time to hang out with the crew.
I appreciate the invite, man. I'm always looking to meet new people, have some more great conversations, man. That's why we do this, man.
That's it, man. So for people who don't know, why don't you tell listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into the conspiracy world?
Okay, yeah. My name's Justin Brown. I kind of got the nickname Doc through this. I think I tell people it's an oxymoron, I believe. I'm a Southern man, if you couldn't tell by the accent. But, we're infamous for our oxymorons. We'll take a 7-foot tall guy and name him Tiny. So this big dumb redneck call him Doc, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just a normal Joe, man, 9-to-5 knuckle dragger my entire life. Grew up in the Bible Belt, was raised a Christian in the Southern Baptist spheres, and was always fascinated by the Bible and history. Those were my two fascinations. And I don't know, man, it's just 2012, I think it was. I was just doom scrolling one day and run across this guy named Trey Smith from God in a Nutshell, and he was talking about angels coming down and breeding with the daughters of men and making Nephilim giants and just all this weird, fringy stuff. And I'm like, this dude's full of shit. I've been to church my whole life. I know this book well. He's just making stuff up. So then I got to looking through the Bible, man, and sure enough, all that stuff he was talking about was right there. It's just I relied too heavily on people telling me what was in there and didn't read it for myself. And it just kind of sparked off from there, man. It was just I don't know what you call it, the gateway drug, some people say. So Giants was my gateway drug, and it kind of just spun me off into this sphere, man. And next thing you know, I realized that you could have podcasts and talk to authors and researchers of all the stuff that I was reading and getting into. So it was a very selfish grab for myself. And it just wound up being here, man. So I've been doing this. I've been having conversations on the internet since I think 22, but it was 2 years ago I started this show and kind of really, deep diving into this stuff, and wrote my first book this year, The Epic of Esau, Birthright and Seed War. And it's just a journey, man. We're all on this hero's journey, man. And mine's just like everybody else's. I'm figuring it out as I go.
That's it, man. And it is. It's a journey, but it's funny because the Anunnaki and the Watchers, fallen angels, whatever you want to reference them as, that's a lot of people start into the conspiracy journey, especially from the biblical side of things.
Yep. Now I love comparative mythology. I'm that type of person that when I see the same story throughout time, throughout culture, throughout the continents, it's just, there has to be something to it. And I think it all stems from like an ancient source. So I love looking at all the ancient myths around the world and see how they all rhyme and match up. Uh, and some Christians or I'm sorry, some like non-believers will see these similar stories and use that as ammunition to, try to debunk your faith. But me, I'm just that person that it strengthens my faith personally. It reassures my faith because I tell people the creator of the universe, uh, for us to say that he remained silent to his creation and didn't speak to anybody except a small handful of people in the Levant, I think is pretty pompous. I think he showed himself and gave hints of himself throughout the world that way, like preconditionings. That way, when he did show up, everybody was familiar with the story. So I love that stuff.
No doubt. Didn't they say in the Bible, like, I grew up a Catholic, and I know in the Bible it says, the water below, the water above, and the water below, and that there's we're basically under a dome. I mean, what is your belief on the flat Earth and that whole theory? I'm just curious with how you grew up as a Christian.
Yeah. Well, I grew up complete normie. I didn't even know about the Genesis 6 fallen angels coming down and breeding with men. I was always taught that was basically the good line of Seth were the sons of God, and they bred with the daughters of Cain, which were wicked, and that union made spiritually wicked people. So that's how Genesis 6 was explained to me.
Yeah.
So I grew up real, quote unquote normie, real vanilla in my theology. But when I got exposed to all this stuff, though, me personally, I think flat Earth, they raise a lot of good, questions and point to some things that are kind of ambiguous and don't really have a good answer for. But I'm just not sold on it yet.
Yeah,
but,
me neither.
Yeah, but I tell people it is definitely a biblical theme. That is how they describe it in the Bible, and that's what they believed. And I just tell people that because some people get really worked up and they're like, you're not a Christian if you don't believe in flat Earth because it says it in the Bible and you're choosing a science book over your Bible. And I try to tell people, I'm like, me personally, I use the example of you as a kid asking your parents about where do babies come from. When you're a baby, you're not ready for that kind of information. So they tell you, oh, when a man loves a woman, they kiss and a bump appears, or a stork drops it off at your door. You get all these, G-rated stories that your little mind can understand. And I think God's the same way, that he meets you where you're at. And those people, that was their worldview. They thought it was flat and that you could sail off the end and fall off into the abyss. And he just kind of, he just spoke to them in language and terms that they already understood because our minds are so small we couldn't grasp it anyway.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think there could be a firmament of some sort, but I think it's like surrounding the whole Earth type. You know what I mean? In a way.
Yeah. And I believe in the canopy theory. If you've talked to or heard Dr. Kent Hovind, he talks about it, and he thinks that it was once like a pressurized system. And that when the windows of heaven burst forth, that firmament broke, and that water canopy broke, and that's where all that water coming down. Then the waters from the abyss bursting forth. But the scientists have recreated what they thought would be the ideal conditions of that, and they pressurized like this aquarium, and they put plants in it and lizards and all these different things. And the research showed that the oxygen levels were highly concentrated and rich, and that the animals and plants inside that pressurized system grew exponentially compared to their counterparts. So it kind of goes with the Bible backing up, that there were giants on the earth in those days, and that they lived almost 1,000 years, and all this kind of, Narnia, Lord of the Rings stuff, because this pressurized system sustained that kind of life.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the theory. Like, I always think, I don't necessarily if it's the firmament, but we're in, like, I guess I always think of like an old school, like hockey table, like an air hockey table with a little dome above it. I guess that's kind of how I picture it. But now I'm starting to think like outer space. I've seen some theories, and outer space is just like outside of what we can't get to. Like, we're in the inner circle. and like there's no actual outer space. The outer space is out of the space we're not allowed to go, basically.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's rovers on Mars and everything, I know, supposedly, but like, I mean, isn't like the radiation belt, like really when you try to go through that thing, like you basically anything explodes, they say.
Van
Or like
Allen
what is
belt.
Van, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really tough to actually get into outer space. All the pictures you see, they're actually like in our orbit, the pictures you see from NASA. So yeah, I don't know, man. The firmament is an interesting is interesting to think about for sure.
I mean, everything does curve, right? Like all the rockets curve, the rainbow curves.
Once it
I know
gets there, right?
there's good
The
theories
rain
for both sides. Yeah, once it
the
gets
rainbow is an interesting, yeah. When you look at a rainbow, it looks like it follows the dome, like it really does, like the reflection.
Mhm.
It's kind of yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
one
don't
of the
know.
interesting things that kind of got me, interested or scratching my head, because they talk about how when light shines through a prism, that light coming through takes on the shape of the prism that it is coming through. So they took like a domed, prism and shined a light through it, and sure enough, it the light coming through was arced like a rainbow.
Yeah, and then like the water too. Like you ever see them um do the experiment with like the cup of water and then like the light and then like the glass, which would be the dome, and they make the rain, right, exactly, like the rainbow swirls, which I mean is actually like what they say is water is on the outside of the firmament, if that's what they say. And
Look up
what's
at the
there.
stars. The stars look like they're blurry, like looking at a light in a swimming pool. Same thing.
I mean, it would be interesting if outer space was actually like more of a liquid.
I mean, at this point, though, like we know everything we've been taught and grow up to be taught is 90% of it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
What they
Yeah.
want us to know. Unfortunately, wasted our time.
Yeah,
It's-
for
What if
sure.
what if the part where they say like 80% of the deep waters have been undiscovered? What if they're talking about space?
Hmm.
I mean, didn't we say that before, like a long time ago, that NASA, when they first started, they were researching the waters and the
Originally.
oceans. Yeah, right. And then that's what I
And they
thought.
stopped in like the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, I seen a reel. Hell, it's been within the last year, but it was pretty funny and it made you think. But it showed these two guys and like they're stoned and they're kind of philosophizing back and forth, trying to have these deep conversations. And then I don't know how they got there, but they got on the subject of fish, and they were talking about the fish and how their ecosystem is made just for them. And he's like, "Well, man, do you think that the fish can see the water?" And the other guy's like, "No, probably not," and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, "Well, the Bible talks about a firmament and that, there was water above." And, he's like, "What if we are just like the fish and we are in water, but we just don't see the water? And then up above is God or another race looking in our pond, asking if we
Yeah.
see the water too."
Right.
Right. No, I mean, if you think about it too, and I mean,
You're
they
snatching
breed,
a bass. It's just like us getting abducted.
right.
So,
No,
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's an interesting theory, It's pretty
Gotta
wild.
ask Travis Walton how he felt when he got snatched up. So, Doc, man, what inspired you to start writing the book?
Honestly, it was I'd mentioned Trey Smith. He was the guy that kind of red pilled me, and I was fortunate enough to have him on my show, and we were talking and hanging out, and he had mentioned, "Oh, well, you're from East Tennessee. That's Bigfoot country. Next time I'm up that way, we'll go on a Bigfoot hunt." And I was aware of Bigfoot. I mean, it's a big thing here in East Tennessee in the Appalachians. Every gas station, every country store has Bigfoot T-shirts and stickers and all that kind of stuff. But I was never what you would call a Bigfoot enthusiast at all. I hadn't watched any documentaries. I hadn't listened to any podcasts on it. I just kind of knew the general view. And while we were talking, man, just out of nowhere, Genesis 25:25 popped into my head. And for those that's not familiar, it just says the first one came out red, covered in hair from head to toe, like a hairy cloak. And I was like, damn, that sounds pretty squatchy to me.
It sounds like Bigfoot.
Yeah, if we just let it say what it says, he was covered in hair from head to toe, like a cloak, and it was red hair. I mean, if we took that descriptor and told somebody we saw this out in the woods, without hesitation, everybody'd say you've seen a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. So I asked Trey, I was like, Trey, what do you think about Esau from the Bible? And he kind of looked confused. And I'm like, well, we're talking about Bigfoot. It says that he come out red, covered in hair. Do you think maybe he might have been the first documented Bigfoot anyway? And he kind of laughed and he's like, I don't know. He said, but he definitely was a hairy dude. You might be onto something. And it was the next week I had Gary Wayne on and we were talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh. And I bumped into this guy named Enkidu, described just like Esau, covered in hair from head to toe. And he was known as a wild man, just like Esau, a mighty hunter. And I'm like, here's another freaking Bigfoot in an ancient text, And just one thing led to the other, and I just kept finding them. And so I was like, man, I got to search this thing out. So then it just sent me on almost 2-year deep dive, reading all the extra biblical sources I could get my hands on. Louis Ginsburg, Legends of the Jews, that's a 6-book series that he went through and collected all of their legends, all of their lore and mythology, and just combined them all into these 6 books. And I went through and read those too. And honestly, I just kept finding pieces of this guy's story. The Bible just gives you a little, blurb about him. But these other texts, man, they fill in the rest of the story. So it's kind of like somebody busted his story up and scattered it in all these other books. So it just kind of sent me on a treasure hunt trying to find and gather all the pieces, man.
like they didn't want it to be told.
Honestly, yeah, because even like when you get into the Bible, like where it talks about the Amalekites, and I can't remember the other race, but they say God says that he will blot out their memory. He don't want them remembered. He was going to, try to blot their names out of the genealogies and the history books and things like that. And I think that's kind of what they did with this guy. They left him really ambiguous because a lot of the ancient texts say he was a serpent seed. And when you read his story, there's a lot of things in there that don't make sense. Like for me, the trading of the birthright, that's that famous story where he's the eldest son. He's supposed to inherit everything. But one day it says he just comes in from the field exhausted and trades his birthright to his brother for a bowl of soup. But then when he trades it, he makes like this little catty comment that's honestly just out of left field, never made sense to me. And he says, what use is a birthright to me when I am dead? Take it. And I'm like, well, that's pretty melodramatic. For number one, if I was, Donald Trump's firstborn son and I'm about to inherit the millions of dollars or billions of dollars and all the real estate and everything else, and I come in from trading stocks all day and I see my little brother sitting on the couch eating a bag of Doritos, and I'm like, hey, bro, I'm hungry. Can I get some chips from you? And he's like, yeah, sure, but sign over the company and everything you're going to inherit. And then I'm like, sure. What use is all that stuff to me when I'm dead? Give me those Doritos. Hell no. Nobody'd ever do that.
No.
But all them stories, though, when you get to reading these other books, they fill in the dots and it makes perfect sense, honestly. And then, so to me, I tell people, I think these extra biblical books and scrolls and legends and things are extremely important because back then, this is an ancient text. These ancient people were well aware of these other stories and legends and lore. So when they were writing this book, I think they just kind of hit the high notes because they didn't want to theoretically beat a dead horse. They were like, hell, everybody knows about Esau because we got the book of Jasher. We got this, and this. We don't need to rehash that. But, because they wouldn't thinking of us thousands of years later that some of these books and legends and stuff would be taken away from us.
What was the one? Go ahead, Rod. Sorry.
I was gonna say, why do you think they framed him as like a villain though? Didn't they frame him as like the bad guy?
Yeah, and I think that's what it is because like when you get into those other books, they come out, which the Bible paints him as a bad guy.
Right.
But then when you get into the other extra biblical books and things like that, they also paint him as a bad guy, but they go a step further and say that he was of the devil. He was a serpent seed.
Okay.
And even the Bible even hints at that. You know, once I seen it, you know, it's kind of, I tell people it's kind of like that red Honda Civic. You never see the red Honda Civic till you buy the red Honda Civic, and then you see them everywhere. But in that story, if you guys remember the curse of the garden, okay, and back then these were scrolls. They didn't have chapters and all this kind of stuff. It was just one document. So in Genesis 3:15, that's the curse of Adam and Eve and this serpent. And what does he say? He says, I will put enmity between her seed and thy seed, talking to the serpent. So it's saying outright he's going to have a seed and she's going to have one, and they're going to be at war, at enmity with one another. And he says one will bruise one's head, but the other will bruise the other's heel. And so, like I said, there was no chapters. This is just a scroll. So you get just a couple verses down. That's where you get Genesis 25:25 and the birth of Esau. And the angel goes to Rebekah and warns her. And what does he say? He says, 2 nations, 2 peoples are in your womb, and they battle together. There's enmity between the 2. And then he says, and then when he's born, first one come out red, covered in hair from head to toe. He comes out looking just like a fertility god of all the ancient beliefs and world systems. That all the fertility gods were hairy wild men. And so he comes out looking like this fertility god. That's strange, but he's a part of a set of twins. So his foot had to push on Jacob's head, bruising the head to exit the womb. And then it gives you this little detail. It says Jacob is clutching the heel, bruising the heel of Esau. So this is a Polaroid picture of Genesis 3:15, and it would not have been lost on the ancient readers of the time.
Oh shit. What are your thoughts on the Book of Enoch? I mean, going along with like the stories of, you know, the off of the Bible, you know. I know it was
that's been a hot topic lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, I think the first book, the Book of the Watchers, I think it's legit. And even if, you know, they determine, oh, it's only dated to this certain date, well, that doesn't mean that that's the first writing or that was the first copy. You know, I think they had a scroll of Enoch circulating during the time. But even if they didn't, in the very least, I think this was a well-established oral tradition that everybody was aware of, because it goes perfectly in line with the Genesis 6 narrative and fills in all the gaps. And I think that's why, once again, in Genesis 6, you just get this little blurb, and it says the sons of God saw the daughters of men were fair and came down and took them wives and bred with them and made the Nephilim giants.
Yep.
And then they just move on. And us, we're like, whoa, slow down. Let's reverse this. I want more details on this event. That seems like a pretty big deal. But like I said earlier, they already had scrolls circulating. They already had oral traditions and legends circulating. Everybody knew during that time. So that's why they was just so, you know, brief with it, I believe.
Yeah, because the Anunnaki and shit, that's a fun one always to go down with the, you know, Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the Watchers.
Yep.
Yeah, all that shit.
Who was the I guess we had a couple of weeks ago, went real deep with the Anunnaki.
Todd
Cave.
Todd
Yeah,
Cave.
I'm not sure if Doc knows Todd Cave, but yeah, he blew my mind with the Anunnaki. Really did.
Yeah.
And some different
And
theories.
me, when I read that, I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, they throw that up and they're like, oh, well, that, you know, is very similar to the account in Genesis, and it's older. So therefore it's a copy. It shows you that the Bible's fake. They stole from the Sumerians and reappropriated this story. So that shows you that your Bible is fake and no good. And then I try to tell people, I'm like, well, hold up. If you take the biblical narrative, it says that the sons of God came down, bred with the daughters of men, and that for their rebellion, it says that God cast them out of heaven. And the book of Jude even says, you know, they traded their first estate to come down here. And so I tell people, if we follow the biblical timeline, it says that they were kicked out of heaven and they were here first. And they gave them all the secrets of heaven, all the forbidden knowledge, and that they were worshipped as gods. And once it got so corrupted, that's when the flood came and the Great Reset came. So I tell them, I'm like, well, yeah, of course you're going to get the story of the Anunnaki first. And they're going to paint these people that came from the heavens and gave all these gifts to humanity and done all this kind of stuff, and paint them in such a good light because it's coming from them. Of course, they're going to spin themselves favorably. And of course, you're going to get their story first because they were here first. Just because it's the first doesn't make it the truth.
Right. It's the story they want you to hear.
Deception is always the play.
Oh, yeah. You always get 2 to 3 truths wrapped around a big fat lie to soften you up.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just in everything.
Yeah.
Just in everything. That's how it's been. Now, you just said Great Reset. Do you think that we're eventually going to see a Great Reset with like a Project Bluebeam type scenario?
I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Right.
The Bible talks about the he's going to return and judge the world with fire. And I tell people, and this is something that gets me in trouble sometimes because I get called a heretic and all this other kind of stuff. But I'm like, I think the Bible is important. But I don't worship a Bible. I think a lot of Christians today venerate and worship this book. And if the historical event or whatever is not in the Bible, then it's a lie. It's not true. And I'm not like that. I'm like, there's plenty of things that happened in ancient history that we know happened from archaeology and everything else, but the Bible doesn't even talk about it. So I mean, everything is not in this book. And we hear about 2 resets, possibly 3 if you believe in a gap theory. But you have, judgment of water, and then it says the last is going to be with fire. So we only hear about 2 to 3, resets. But when you go around to the other countries and their mythology, like I said, I love looking at that stuff and seeing what rhymes. Almost all of them talk about these multiple resets. The Hindus, they say we're in the 4th or 5th world, and that the first few judgments was water, but the end is going to be with fire. You go down to the Mayas in South America, they say the same thing. We're in the 4th or 5th reset. The first few was water, but the last is going to be with fire. So I think there was, multiple resets, and this earth is a lot older than a lot of, young earth creationists want to say. I think it's a lot older than 10, to 12,000 years old. I think it's a lot older.
They also say because there's a theory that we skipped a few thousand years in our timeline as well.
Yeah, like the little season and stuff.
And we just got out of the little season, right? 26 turned us out of the little season, and we're like the year of the horse or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with it. I've got the 30,000 foot view, and I've had a couple people on and talk about that too. And I see that kind of like the flat Earth. I think they raise some good questions and point to some really interesting things, but I'm just not personally there yet. But I love hearing about it. I love looking at it and talking about it, but just not there yet personally.
I'm where you are with the flat Earth, man. I'm not sold on it, but I'll tell you what, I love listening to it, and they go deep. They are passionate about it. The flat Earthers, they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. The ones who are all in are all in. They're standing on that hill proudly. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, the one thing that kind of held me from it, though, honestly, the big thing was, have you guys heard of Dr. Walt Brown?
No.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he worked for NASA. He was an engineer, I think, but he was a Christian, and he done a lot of research and wrote a book. And I actually have a signed copy of his book over here, but it was called In the Beginning. And he has this theory that he calls hydroplate theory. Oh, excuse me. And to me, that made so much sense. and it ties in everything with the biblical narrative, the fossil record, just so many things,
Huh.
and it makes perfect sense to me. But if we are on a flat, stationary, plane, like they say, that theory would not work. And to me, that is the skeleton key theory that answers everything. Like, for instance, the oceanic ridges. If you look at those, these are fractures, scar lines that run around the globe like a seam of a baseball. And if you take the theory that it was once Pangea, just one big supercontinent, and then this great cataclysm happened and it kind of pushed them apart, and that's kind of what he believed in. But he talked about these oceanic ridges, and he says if you look at them, they run almost perfect with the outlines of the continents. And then every single major mountain range in the world, there's no exception, everyone lines up perfectly parallel with these oceanic ridges. So he's saying that whether it was an earthquake, a comet, something happened to trigger this global cataclysm. And he says that the tectonic plates underneath had a fracture point, and that's where you get these oceanic ridges. And he says that they just started pushing them apart. And he said, just like a car, when you hit a wall, he said the hood rolls up, right? And he said that's what happens, he said, with the major mountain ranges. He said you had this fracture point, the oceanic ridges, and it was pushing them out, and all this water from the abyss was shooting forth, flooding from underneath and on top. And he said it met resistance, and when it did, it buckled and it pushed up the mountains. And that's why they line up so perfectly with that ridge. And he said all the plates moving at the same time, it caused earthquakes, it caused tsunamis, it caused all the volcanoes to erupt. He said, and all the soot and ash went up into the atmosphere and darkened the sun and lowered the temperatures on Earth. And that's why we have the ice age. It brought the first ice age and possible, polar shift, just all these things. And I'm doing it poor justice, but he goes into great detail and talks about all that stuff. But his theory, man, it answers so many questions so perfectly, in my opinion. But it only works on a globe. It doesn't work on a flat Earth model. So that was my kind of thing that kept me from diving into the deep end of the pool with it.
Yeah. Well, what gets me is don't people sail across, like, I know not north to south, because that would be tough to do, but don't people sail across the globe from like California to China to, or like however it would go? I think people have sailed the whole globe, I believe. So if that's the case, then kind of.
And there's a race. I don't know how often they do it, but there's
around
an
Antarctica.
Race. Yes, it goes around Antarctica. So a lot of people talk about how, it's shut off, you can't go there, and it's actual ice rim wall, but it's a continent in the center that these people in these boats race around.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I heard about that race around the around Antarctica, but they try saying it's only flat earther. I heard a flat earther tried debunking that theory, saying it was only a part of Antarctica they race around. It's only like a piece of one of the islands. It's not the whole continent. So they try saying that, but yeah, I heard about the same race.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And the thing is, too, they keep adjusting too their theology and standpoints as things get proven wrong. It's like the goalpost keeps moving.
Yeah.
It's like they kept saying, "Oh well, no, if they allow us up there, we would see that there is no 24-hour sun, and that would totally bust the globe model." And it was just past what year?
Yeah, somebody went up and videoed it
up there. And
24 hours.
It shows it perfectly, 24 hour. And so then they start changing their stance. Oh, well, there's many models. Our model is right. That other one was wrong. And our model, there is a 24-hour sun.
Right.
Like we said, they're passionate, man. They're passionate.
Well, it says here, I'm reading with hydroplate the theory. I didn't know much about it, so I'm kind of looking up. There's underground water chambers That might make sense a little bit to what we just recently had Matt Lane and Christine Gilberti on, and talking about the Fountain of Youth and the natural, fresh, the hydrogen water they found. That could be a little possibility they might have popped into one of those chambers.
Oh yeah, I mean, because we dig today, and dig wells, and we get water, from underneath the earth all the time.
So, could make sense.
Yeah, what was hers? Over 1,500 feet, right?
I want to say it
healed
was.
her?
Yeah, it was down there. Deep.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it
dug
was over
by
1,500
Freemason.
feet.
Yeah, Freemason.
Yeah, we're going down
dug it
there.
out.
When you guys are down here, we're gonna go take a trip down to Sarasota and check it out and see
Get some of
what this
that
is all
super
about. Supposedly
water.
we can get some of this water. Yeah.
I'll try.
Hey, there's some healing water in Tennessee. I don't know how far you guys are away, but it's kind of like a local thing. It's pretty cool. What is the name of it? I could look it up and probably tell you, but it was
My girl loves
in this
Tennessee, so she'll definitely go on and check it out.
yeah, it's this little town outside of Morristown, and they Houston Minerals, that's what it's called. And the story goes is that this old man, Mr. Houston, was having like kidney problems, and he was going to the doctor, and they done all kinds of stuff for him. This was back in the day, and they couldn't do nothing for him. They just said, you're just going to have to live with it till it kills you. Well, there's nothing we can do. And he was a Christian man, and he prayed to God, for some healing and direction. And he says that he got a vision, a dream, that an angel came to him, pulled him out of bed, and took him out in his backyard, out in his property, and took him to this spot and said, drill here. And don't quote me on the footage, but they said they give him a specific number. They said drill, 2,000 some odd foot, and you'll hit water, and there will be your healing. Drink the water and you'll be healed. And so he goes out and finds the spot that he had the dream about, calls some well diggers over. They dig the well, and they end up drilling like short of what the angel told, and they hit water. And they're like, okay, we hit water, we're good, we'll start setting up the pumps and everything. And he said, no, go down to this certain footage. And they did. They kept going. Well, then they hit another well, another pocket of water, and that was the one that the angel told him about. And he started drinking the water and went for a checkup. Like a year later, he was completely healed of his ailments. And so he had the water sent and tested. It was rich in all these different minerals, and it was advertised everywhere as this, holy, blessed by an angel water. And he was charging people, I can't remember, it was like 5 cents a gallon or something like that. And everybody come from everywhere to get this water. And he was actually shipping it across the United States. And then the FDA or whoever came in and told them, you can't be selling miracle elixirs and stuff. That's illegal. So they ended up having to stop that. But it's still open to this day, and it's on an honor system. And I think it's a quarter or 50 cents. It's something ridiculously cheap for a gallon. And it's an honor system. They just have a box, and you walk up and drop your money into the box and go fill up your water jugs. And every time I've ever been there, man, it's always a huge line, everybody stocking up on it and stuff. But they had some modern tests done on it, and it's like so rich and so many nutrients and stuff like that. And they said that some of the stuff in there was really good at busting up kidney stones and things like that. And that's what healed Mr. Houston.
Wow. So, Raj, that Saratoga Springs, like the spring water and the racetrack, do you ever try that water? That's supposed to be healing water as well, but I cannot drink that because it's is it sulfury? It's something. There's something that it literally tastes like fucking rotten eggs. It's disgusting. But they say it's like, and it's got like almost like a fizz to it. It's not a fizz, but it's terrible. Saratoga Springs, it's famous.
The blue water?
No,
You're just talking about the regular pure water, right?
I'm not talking about the bottled Saratoga water that I'm talking about at the racetrack, there's actually you could. It's been there
Oh,
forever.
dude, yes. I know
There's
what
a
you're talking
fountain. My
about.
dad always
Yes.
takes me over there. He's like, "Come take a sip of it." He
'Cause,
goes, "Man,
bro,
it cleans
you
you out. You'll fucking shit like a horse tomorrow." I'm like,
Because you
I
probably
drink.
got a bunch of little kids sticking their fingers in the thing.
No,
and
it's just
everything else, bro.
it's got just so much. It's supposed to be a super 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 healing water. It's world famous. You can look it up. That's where they got the name Saratoga Springs. Was that spring?
That well, right there,
And,
huh? Did it all.
yeah, yeah, man. But I can't drink it. It's tough to get down. Is that water like actually just like regular water, or does it have like a different taste to it?
No, it's clear water, but honestly, guys, I thought everybody was full of shit, and I heard about it. And I'm like, oh, hell, it ain't that far away from me. I'll go just to try it and check it out. And honestly, dude, it's the only water I've ever drank in my life that didn't have a taste.
Okay.
I can't describe it. Most of the time there's an aftertaste
All right.
or something in the palate of your mouth. This was tasteless, completely tasteless.
Well, the way
It
they were
was good
describing the
water.
water down in Florida, it was just like air. Like they said, it just went down like air in your mouth. They said it was just like there
It
was.
didn't taste
And
like
it's
anything.
probably didn't taste like it was probably very similar to what you're describing. Just like the cleanest tasting water that you'll ever get.
Mhm.
But the government shut them down. They wouldn't. That whole story is
They
wild.
threw her husband. They threw her husband in jail. He went and saw the commissioners and the governor and all them, and told them that he was an engineer and he could supply the entire state of Florida with free water. And he's been in jail for like 15 years now.
No,
No-
he
no
was
trial
sentenced
or
for 15.
anything.
Sentenced for
It's-
15 years.
he's
So
in
he
there
was
for
in.
two.
Sentence for 15
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
it's a wild
They're
story,
trying,
man.
they're trying to get him out, but she invited us down there, so we'll let you know when it happens.
I want to try
'cause it's
that
like a couple
water.
hours
I'm
from my
saying
house.
I'm all about it.
It might be
True.
part of Baba Vanga's prophecies. One of the
Yeah.
prophecies she gave, she said 2026. There's a lot of stuff could be popping off according to her, but one of the things she said that I thought was interesting was there would be a new clean energy source discovered in 2026.
Well, that would make
be
sense if
helpful.
because what the World Health Organization or is it them or the World Economic Forum wants to buy the rights of water. That's like one of their main
Wow.
things they want to do by like 2030 is they want to buy the rights to the water so we can't have it.
Or we have to pay top dollar for it. For something we
Yeah.
need.
So
Put a
if
meter
she's
on your
right,
tap.
if she's
Tax
right,
that shit.
yeah, if she's right and water becomes very valuable and becomes a new source, that would make sense.
Yeah. The water powered cars, that would be the new gas that they could
Yeah.
make money off of.
Could you imagine?
So,
Yeah,
They're
what
gonna-
is it,
they have to come out-
BMW just made a hydrogen motor. I'm pretty
Did
sure
they?
it's BMW.
I was gonna say they have to
Oh, yeah,
eventually
yeah.
come
They've
out
had them
with
for a
something.
while that haven't been approved, but
They'll have to have a
BMW
water
just made,
boy
like, a
endorsement,
new-
like a commercial with
Right.
him. Make
Yeah.
some high quality H2O.
Yeah.
Gas
Yeah.
sucks. It really,
they don't-
really sucks.
But they don't want hydrogen engines though, because you would never have to fill it up. I don't think, would you? Or just fill it up with water. But I
Right.
mean, it costs a lot of people money with a hydrogen
Mhm.
motor. Venezuela
For
would be
sure.
pointless if we had
For
hydrogen motors.
Right. Man.
So do you plan on doing since you finished your first book, do you have a second book in your future?
Yeah. I got two in my head that I want to write, and I got the time to do it now. So it's just a matter of when. But I would like to write a book on just the serpent seed, because that's something that I really focused in on with this other book, which this was a 15 chapter book, but I only one chapter got into serpent seed, but that is a very deep well. And I was thinking about writing a book on that and going back to the garden with the trees. So I was, thinking about maybe entitling it the story of the two trees, and gardening the two seed lines. And another one that I was thinking about, I actually had a listener of the show listen to one of the episodes I did on like astrotheology and as above, so below, mirror images uh, that you find in scripture. And I did like a hour and a half episode on that. And somebody had mentioned it'd be interesting to read a book on that and have you really just tear all that stuff apart in a book. And I was like, yeah, that would be a pretty cool book. I've never even heard of anybody writing a book, with that type of, subject matter. Doesn't mean it's not out there, but I haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah.
Should be the
So did
first
I
to
see
do
you
it.
were
That'd
on?
be sweet.
Yeah, definitely. That would be sweet. Did I see you were on Tripoli show at one point, or did you got? I see
Yeah.
you got your book. Yeah.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah,
been
I've
fun a
been on
couple
Sam's
times.
show twice.
A couple times.
Awesome. I got to go back and find those ones, man. For sure.
Yeah,
He's
the
got
most
so
recent
many.
one, it was the seed war, and we actually talked about just the serpent seed. And then
Okay.
the first time I went on, we talked about the Epic of Esau and the whole Bigfoot and how Esau married into Nephilim giant clans and bred with them, and actually from his loins and that union, him marrying into those giant clans, burst the Amalekite race. And like when you get into the etymology of their name, that means the blood lickers.
Nice.
Huh.
Roger really turned me on to tinfoil hat and basically all the conspiracy podcasts now that we listen to. I just really got into it. I'm the new guy at it, so I'll
Nice.
definitely, yeah, it's I'm the one that's
We
always
got
like,
one.
huh? And I'm on the computer looking this shit up. I'm like, this can't be, no way. Come on.
And I'm one of
All right,
those guys
guys.
who I'll let you figure it out on your own. And when me and Anthony first started hanging out, he really was just kind of like, I would be argumentative with me, like, no, you're crazy. Then I'd show him something that kind of proves that I wasn't crazy. And then, after so long, when you're batting over, 800, it's hard to doubt it. So just
Mhm.
eventually figure it out.
For sure,
figure
Oh
man.
yeah, I
it out.
mean even when I first met Anthony, and like we were getting to know each other during the tournament or whatever, he would like ask me, "Oh, my buddy Roger told me this. What do you think about this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's right."
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
Yeah.
going right in the middle of a tournament. I mean, we were playing terrible, so we didn't really care at that point on the last day. But yeah, we went down a couple rabbit holes and stuff. They just with him and Roger, so it was fun.
And fun.
Yeah, man.
Do you ever get into the serpent mounds?
Yeah. I actually filmed a documentary this past year that I need to put together. I got hours of footage, but I went to Serpent Mound in Ohio, done a lot of filming there. I actually went off trail, off that cliff, and actually found that monolith stone that they threw off the cliff. And that was cool. I'd done some filming, and with it, I set up the tripod in the woods and showed it and talked about it and stuff. It was really cool. And after I got all my footage, then I launched my drone from there, and they got signs everywhere. No drones, no drones. But I was like, hell with it, man. I'd rather ask forgiveness than permission.
Forgiveness.
And so I actually launched it inside of the park and got one flyby, and then a Karen come running, hey. So I was asked to leave when I landed it. But
My God.
I went there, and I went to Enon Mound, Miamisburg. I went to Pinson Mounds back in October. And so I just went to all these cool mound places and done a lot of filming and drone footage. I just have to piece them all together.
Nice.
What's your theory
That's gonna be
on
awesome.
what those are?
I think it's remnants of the Giants. If you go like L.A. Marzulli and Fritz Zimmerman, they got a pretty good theory that I think is spot on. But in the Bible, it talks about when they come out of Exodus and they were cleansing the Holy Land, and all those tribes that they told them to, kill every man, woman, and child. When you go through the genealogies, all of those tribes that were mentioned were known Nephilim giant clans. So they were cleansing the land of this hybrid race. And L.A. and Fritz had said that the smart ones seen how they were wiping everybody out and moving north, and especially like the Phoenicians. That's what I'm looking for. The Phoenicians, they were known seafaring people. He said, I think a lot of them ran. He said they moved north, and he said probably the Phoenicians and some others got on ships and sailed west and made their way into the Americas. And he was talking about the water levels were higher back then. And he said uh, a lot of people theorized that there was a channel like from New England going straight into the Great Lakes. And in there, especially that Island Royale or Royal Island, something like that. It's like in between Canada and the Michigan lakes there. But it's one of the largest copper mines that they found. And they guesstimated like 100 billion tons of copper is missing. It's just like this astronomical amount of copper that they say is missing, and it tests at 98.8% pure, so it's the purest copper in the world too. And they find this copper in England, they find it in the Levant, they find it in China, they find this copper everywhere. So it shows you that these giants, I think these Phoenicians, were coming over mining this copper and then taking it out and distributing it across the world, fueling the Bronze Age. And they even found a huge monolith rock that has a Phoenician style ship carved into it. So I think these guys were doing that. They were going back and forth, mining this copper, supplying the world during the Bronze Age with all these precious metals. And a bunch of them stayed behind and settled. And they just started taking that Ohio River Valley down from there. And that's where you get all of your mound complexes and stuff. They're all along this Ohio River Valley, I think, because that's the path they took from the Great Lakes, and they left their fingerprint as they went.
It's definitely
That's a
interesting.
good.
man.
That's a good little theory right there.
Absolutely.
And
I
that's-
like it.
And that's why, like,
Look into
do you
that one,
believe in
too.
a theory where, like, the giants, like, sometimes you see the mountains that have, like, a giant, they, form, like, a giant's hand or a foot or a face, even sometimes, like, do you
Yeah.
believe in that theory?
Or even like a laid down giant is like,
Yeah.
kind of like you see in the Moana.
I was going to
You
say the
know,
Yeah.
Moana theory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think it's possible, man. Like you said, a lot of them, they look like large human faces or a body laid down taking a nap and all this different kind of stuff. I mean, it looks like it. And then when you read like the book of Enoch, it talks about these pre-flood giants, like they were thousands of ells, and it said they were tall as cedar trees. And you got Devil's Tower and all these other things that they say are mountains or rock formations
trunks.
formed by flooding. They look like big old tree trunks, man.
Mhm.
And that's the thing,
Yeah, I've
is a lot of
seen some
people don't even know, but this is a petrified piece of a tree, and it looks just like it. You see the lines, and
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is it's a stone. It's a rock.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, shit.
But it's a petrified piece of a tree, and it looks exactly like Devil's
Yeah.
Tower and some of these other places that they talk about.
Damn.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
that's crazy. Yeah, that's cool.
That is nuts.
Definitely awesome.
Did you grab that before grab that where you got thrown out of flying the drone?
No, but I bought that maybe 2 to 3 miles away from Serpent Mound, because there's this rock shop there that the locals told me about, that the husband and wife are, fringy like us. They talk about giants and alternative history and things like that I needed to go talk to them. So I went down there and met them, and they got this huge rock shop, and they got fossils and old rocks and stones and all this kind of stuff. And so I seen that and bought that while I was there. And I actually interviewed that guy, Terry, and talked about some of his theories and the giants on Serpent Mound. So if you guys are in that area, you definitely want to go check out that rock shop. That is really cool.
I'd love to take a road trip over here. I'm looking at pictures right now of the Serpent Mound. I always say it looks like kind of like a sweet golf course, like with the undulation in the mounds and the holes. I was like, that's me always going back to golf, man. I'm just sick, man.
Hey, if I would take a trip to Ohio, I mean, Code and those guys are all out there. We can make it.
It's not far, dude. You got
Yeah.
Buffalo. It's about 5 hours. Once you get to Buffalo, I think Ohio is about
You're
7
halfway
hours
there.
for us. Oh, not it's more than halfway. Oh,
Yeah.
Buffalo's
So,
like here.
depending
Once
on
you
where we're going, would be there.
like, we could go to Buffalo, stay there for a night, and then go the rest of the way, and you're there.
10-hour drive, bro.
Yeah.
We could fucking
But that
do
guy
man.
Terry, he told me a cool theory about the Serpent Mound that I had never heard before, and it makes perfect sense because he's married to I cannot remember her name now, but she's full-blooded Native American, and she practices, still does uh, the rituals and the practices and all that kind of stuff too. But a lot of people theorize that this is a snake eating an egg, and it looks like it. And like people like L.A. Marzulli, they've done films and stuff about these mounds and the Nephilim. And he said that he thinks it's the serpent, the Nakash, eating the egg, trying to eat humanity, that kind of thing. But when I talked to him and his wife, and they said, no, if you go back and you read I can't remember the explorer's name now, the one that found it, that they actually had to reconstruct to try to kind of restore what they thought it looked like. And he said the Native Americans say that originally that egg, it was a little bit more rounded. He said, but they flew a plane over to do what do they call that? Some kind of radar scanning to see, what Earth has been moved or messed with and that kind of thing.
LiDAR.
Yeah. And they flew over Serpent Mound, and you could see what looked like little legs coming off the back, and then also into the front, and then also at the head of that egg, you have like this little triangle, like mini mound, about the size of maybe a basketball or something. And so Terry said, so if you look at that, he said, you have this circle. Legs in the front, legs in the back. You have this little triangle knot at the very front of it. He said the Native Americans believed that it was originally a turtle. And he said in their mythology and legends, he said, kind of tell the story of the migration of the Maya. He said, because the Mayans in South America, he said they traveled north. He said, and their god was Quetzalcoatl, the feathered plumed serpent. And he said, corn was not indigenous up here. He said it came with the people from South America. They brought the corn with them, and they had these legends and lore about Quetzalcoatl, and the legends and lore told you how to plant the corn and get 2 seasons out of them. And he said, so the Native Americans, they called North America Turtle Island. He said, so they believe that it's telling the story of the migration of the Mayans in South America, traveling north with their god, their serpent, and devouring Turtle Island. And I was like, now that makes a lot more sense. And I'd never heard it before. That was the first time I'd ever heard that. Actually, I got a picture. Let me find it.
The serpent mounds are interesting, man, just because of where it's located too, like in Ohio, like that. It's like just a random spot. But now his theory makes sense of like the path that it's up, kind of thing.
Eating the turtle.
It's the snake for sure. It's 11 hours away, Raj. I just looked it up.
Yeah, so halfway there when you get to Buffalo.
Yeah, I thought it was a little closer. I didn't realize it was that far.
Depending on where you're going in Ohio.
Yeah.
Well, there's a great conference you guys should check out. They have it the last weekend of July every year, and it is in Brooksville, Ohio. I've been there several times. It's a great conference. I love it. But from where the conference is at, there's 2 of Ohio's largest mounds within a half an hour from where the conference is. 30 minutes one way, they have the Miamisburg Mound, and it's like 80-something foot high, huge. And then another half hour the opposite direction, they have the Enon Mound, and it's a little bit smaller than Miamisburg, but it's still a huge mound, and it's actually in the center of a subdivision. And they have a roundabout that goes around the mound, and they have these houses around that roundabout, all facing toward that mound. And the history of it is that they used to have a horse racing track around that mound, and that even Joseph Smith was recorded visiting the mound, and that he stood on top of it and proclaimed that this was the land of the Neophytes, talking about the Nephilim. So a lot of cool history and stories in that area. But so yeah, if you ever go to that, you can go to the conference and check out 2 really cool mounds. And I think Serpent Mound is just 2 or 3 hours south from Brooksville, so you could check out 3 really cool mounds while you're there.
Oh yeah. Might have to
13
make a
hour,
trip, man.
13 and a half hour drive for me.
Yeah, so it's about halfway point. He's the Mike's in
Yeah,
Florida.
exactly.
We're in upstate New York, so a little bit
Yeah,
different.
meet in the middle.
A little bit different.
No
And
doubt.
that Esau being Bigfoot. See, my Bigfoot theory, and I don't know if your theory supports this, so I'm starting to think like Bigfoot's responsible, and he's interdimensional for like a lot of missing 411 and shit like that, like through portals and such, or caves even. But I know that the aliens would have to be involved a little bit with that, but I'm starting to think that, I always thought Bigfoot could possibly be an alien as well, from a different, just like a different dimension type, different dimensional opposed to outer space type alien.
Yeah, and what's cool is like when you get into the weeds, of Esau. So I tell people, his description sounds like a Bigfoot. And then when you have the blessing of his father, it says that Jacob, kills a goat and wraps the fur around him like a blanket so that he could go in and pass himself off as Esau to his blind father. And so it says the blind father reaches out and touches this goat's skin. You know what I mean? So it wasn't poetic language or hyperbole. No, he was literally as hairy as a goat. And he makes this comment. He says, I hear my son Jacob, but I feel my son Esau. And he says, but you smell of the field, so therefore I know you are my son Esau. So it talks about he stunk. And you have all these stories about Bigfoot and these smells, right?
Yeah.
And Esau marries into these Nephilim giant clans. He takes 3 wives. 2 of the 3 are known, Horites and Hivites, which were documented as Nephilim giant clans. And the book of Genesis says one of his father-in-laws is named Seir, and that he reigned from the land of Mount Seir. And when you go to the etymology of that word, that means hairy, rough, and ruddy. So here we have this clan of giants, and they are described as hairy, rough, and ruddy. So it's like they're describing a feral giant, or maybe even a Bigfoot. But then you have Esau, who's this hairy wild man, marries into this clan, breeds with them, and makes the Amalekite race, and whose name, the etymology means the blood lickers. And all the historians talk about they were known as a clan of sorcerers and shapeshifters. So I tell people, I'm like, if Esau was what we would call a Bigfoot, he bred with these Nephilim giants, made another hybrid race, maybe of what we would call Bigfoots today. The book of Enoch says that these hybrid beings, when they died, their souls remained to torment mankind. So would they not want to choose a familiar form that they used to look like? And this was a race that was known as shapeshifters and sorcerers. So I think when you have the people that have physical encounters with Bigfoot and you get, footprints and all this stuff, I think that, that's physical. But then you have other people that have all these like spiritual experiences where they see it coming in and out of portals, or footprints suddenly just stop, or the mind speak, or the orbs and UFO phenomenon, all this kind of woo stuff attached to it. And I tell people, I'm like, well, if what I'm saying is true, it makes perfect sense because these are the disembodied spirits of these feral giant clans that were known as sorcerers and shapeshifters. So I think it's not out of the question that they would choose a familiar form and be doing this magical stuff because that's what they did while they were alive.
That's why that's so hard to find. So when you went, you said you went on a Bigfoot hunt. Did you see any evidence while you were
Me
out
and
there?
me and a bunch of content creators got together and went camping in the Smoky Mountains, and I didn't see anything, but I heard a lot of stuff, and I filmed the whole thing. I'm working. That's another documentary I'm working on putting together, but I was actually recording, getting like firsthand, testimonies from some of the guys. And Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are, I had my tripod set up by the campfire. He was sitting in his chair, and I was conducting an interview, asking him, stuff. And while we're recording, you just hear this loud thump, and you hear it on the recording. And Kevin and Riley and them kind of look around, and then all of a sudden you hear just this, I don't know, this screech, howl, weird freaking sound. I've never heard nothing like it. And it happened like 6 or 7 times in a row. And you could even see Kevin's face. He's like, "You hear that?" And freaked everybody out, man. And you can even see it when that happens behind Kevin. You see a bunch of the guys from CW Yachts go to the truck and start pulling out their ARs and stuff, start going out in the woods to go to find it, man. And they said that while they were out there, they kept hearing that sound, but couldn't really pinpoint where it was. But there was 3 guys that went in there, and Drew was one of them. But he had said that they'd seen orbs. And when they went out there to try to find where this sound was coming from, he seen a set of orbs. And that they followed the orbs, and that it just kept moving away from them. But they had gotten like pretty deep back into the woods. And then one of the guys was like, "Hey, we've been walking for a while. We're pretty far from camp. I think we should just stop and turn around." But we had that and some infrasound. We set up bait, and the bait we had set up, we had 3 or 4 groups of 3 to 5 people spread out about 60 yards in like a perimeter, and we all had our lights off. And Riley's group, and I want to go back and say this: a lot of these guys, are ex, military or police. These are not, your average Joe people. They're hardened people, and we kept seeing Riley's group kept turning their lights on down there. And they turned it on for a while, turned it off. They'd done it 3 or 4 times. And we finally come across the radio and was like, "Guys, what's going on down there?" And then they come across the radio and they said, "Guys, we're freaking the hell out." And they were the ones closest to the bait trap area. And they were right beside of this creek. And they said, "We're hearing all kinds of sounds, man, footsteps, and all this kind of stuff." They said, "We're freaking out. And it's not just one of us, it's the entire group." And he said, "And we just had a fear come across all of us." He said it was like a heaviness. He said, "Come across all of us." He said, and we all were talking about it. He said, "So sorry guys, we're out." And they actually got their crap and went out of the woods. And it freaked Riley out. Now, Riley, from Midwest Mythos.
Yeah.
He's in our chat.
Yeah.
You talk to him, man. I actually got footage where I interviewed him. He was so scared and tore up in my interview with him. He started crying, dude. And he refused to sleep outside in his tent. He locked himself in his car after that experience that night. And him and Harley had seen something that was 7-8 foot tall, they said, walking around the bait trap with their thermal, and that they seen 2 of them. And we were lights out. They had the thermal, we didn't, but we had radios, and I had my camera out and I was recording, but it was just pitch black. So all you could get was just, the sounds. And we had a little cam light on the cage that we had the bait set up on. So it's just pitch black. You can hear everything, but all you see is this little light. And then all of a sudden you hear Harley coming across the radio, all excited. He's like, oh my God, guys, there's 2. There's fucking 2. And we're like, what? And then Riley's like, let me see. And Riley gets it. He's like, oh my God, yes, there's 2. And as they're saying that, dude, that cam light goes off. And then it comes back on. Then it goes off and comes back on. Like something was walking in front of that cam light, blocking the view.
Checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was wild. So none of us actually had like a tangible, like, Harry and Henderson seen the thing, but had lots of experiences, lots of crazy feelings. And, but Riley and Harley, and I don't think they got any reason to lie because both of them had the same story, that they seen it with the thermal. And Riley had never seen a Bigfoot. And like I said, that night it freaked him out. He cried and locked himself up. I mean, I ain't making fun of him. I'm not saying he boo-hooed, but yeah, it freaked him out enough that he was teary-eyed and voice cracking, talking about it, and refused to sleep in his tent that he set up. And he slept in his car with the doors locked.
I want to make sure I go with it. I want to go with Anthony on a Bigfoot hunt because I know I can outrun him. So.
Yeah, when you're running away from anything, you don't have to be the fastest guy. You just don't need to be the slowest.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. It's crazy to think too. Like you get all excited, you get all your buddies together, you go out on this trip to go hunt for something that you're super excited to see, and the next thing you know, you're terrified. Like you got, I would say, the full experience.
Yeah, and I'll do a screen share with you guys. I'll show you that trailer I put together.
Oh, shit, yeah. Set it up.
Let's see.
Oh, shit.
Documentary.
Trailer here. Close out the episode.
Operation Smoke. Okay, here it is. So let me go to screen share.
Yep.
So we're up in the upstate is near the Adirondacks where David Pallade has filmed that documentary, The Missing 411, with Tom Messick. So we're not far from that situation at all. We had Adirondack Bigfoot on our podcast a couple times, and he does a bunch of hunts up there. We're going to probably take a trip up there one time with him. See if we can find him. See if we can find Bigfoot and company.
Oh, yeah. Growing up in the Appalachian Mountains of East Tennessee, as a kid, you would hear stories from the old men about the beasts and monsters that lie deep within those hollers and hills. We always thought it was made-up stories to keep us from roaming too far from home and to make sure that we were home by sundown. As kids, me and my friends would run bare feet through the woods, letting our imaginations run wild. Sticks would magically become guns, and we would hunt those monsters of the deep woods. I guess some things never change.
Well, the smoke rolled low through the Tennessee pines, and the moon hung crooked like a warning sign. We came for the truth, not the tales or the jokes, just a ragtag crew on Operation Smoke. There was Drewski leading from CWRs, with a beard like a prophet and eyes that don't stop. Jessica Jones had her boots in the mud, chasing down legends through shadow and blood. Early Owens marked the land with fire. Said something out here's learned how to hide. And Riley came down from the Midwest mythos till a howl in the dark turned his calm into ghost. Grunts in the dark, screams in the trees, footprints deep as the roots beneath me. Minds playing tricks, heartbeats broke under the stars of Operation Smoke. Skittles in the hand, but the fear ain't fake. Something real big walks around that lake. Kevin and Rizzo from where the weird ones are laid low in the brush whispering under the stars. Did you hear that? No, did you? They froze mid-bite, munching Skittles while something screamed in the night. Doc Brown from Prometheus lens stood tall with a camera in hand trying to catch it all. But the woods don't care for a steady frame. They'll rattle your soul and whisper your name. Grunts in the dark, screams in the trees, echoes that ride on a mountain breeze. Tracks like hammers, bones that spoke, signs from the deep in Operation Smoke. Grown folks giggling but nerves still shake when something howls down by the lake.
That's fucking
I love it.
dope, dude.
Did you make that song up with what's the app there? We did our
Yeah,
song.
Suno.
Suno. Yeah, I love it. It's awesome.
That's sick.
Yo, and this
Great trailer.
that right there, like people ask me like, what do you watch on TV and this and that. I don't watch TV.
That's
I
it.
watch shit like that. I go on, YouTube or sites like yours, and I watch stuff like that, like real true stuff, like real people. I don't watch the bullshit. I watch real people. Like that. That was really well
Amen.
done, man.
No,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you, man.
cool,
I
man.
appreciate it.
That was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, the Cryptid Huntress. I've been trying to get her on the podcast for a little while now too. I got to reach back out to her.
Oh yeah, Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones, who?
Ooh.
Oh, top, man.
Mike Jones. Who?
Yeah,
Mike Jones.
That's right. That's right. Dude, Doc, man, this was a lot of
Next time
fun,
you guys
dude.
go on one of those hunts, that would be nice to go on one.
You want to go? You want to go, Mike?
Hell yeah.
You psycho?
Of course. Let's go.
Take
I
it
love
right
I
up
haven't
north.
lived in Florida, man. We do crazy stuff, dude.
I might poop my pants just a little bit.
Go down to the Glades, do a hunt down there.
Whatever.
The
We-
skunk
Yeah.
ape. That's what they call it down there, ain't it?
Uh-huh.
Hunting the gators down there, baby.
Skunk
Or
ape.
Frogman.
Frogman, that's a new one I just seen.
Frogman. That's right.
Just seen it. That was down in Mexico. That was the video I seen.
A lot of
The newest
shit down in
spotting,
the
yeah.
swamps. A lot of dead bodies in those swamps.
That's crazy.
That there is.
Well,
Probably
Doc,
a lot of vacuum sealed blocks of cocaine too. That was
Oh,
dropped out of airplanes and not picked up.
Oh
them,
yeah,
them
Oh, yeah.
square grouper.
100%.
Yeah.
Get that square grouper and they're fucking getting a little energy boost for the day.
No doubt.
Well, dope
Oh,
episode,
shit.
boys. Doc, man, a
Oh
lot of fun.
gosh,
I lost my
he just had a
skateboard.
ghost knock his stuff down.
Yeah,
He's probably kicking shit around. He's got AD, da-da-da-da-da.
yeah, I'm moving around a little bit. It was probably my chair
he
hit
is
it.
area
We're good.
He is Area 51 ant, so he
Mm.
always is getting tested. So he might have little side effects, little seizures, side seizures. So
We'll spaz out. Well, now, Doc, man, appreciate your time. Why don't you plug your page one more time? Let them know where they can get your book. And let it rip.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me, and I enjoyed this. It was just like laid back talking with some buddies at over the campfire. Man, I really enjoyed it. But
Awesome.
my show, it's a Prometheus Lens podcast. You can find the website that you got pulled up there, PrometheusLensPodcast.com. That's a one-stop shop. You can find everything there. You can order my book there directly from me if you want a signed copy. And I always give out like a goodie bag. I hand out a handful of stickers and some custom bookmarks and things like that if you buy directly from me. Then you can go to Amazon, and they got it on all three formats on there. So you can get it a physical copy for $20, a digital for $10, or audio book. You can have it read to you, and it's me reading.
gonna say,
the book.
yeah,
So
that's
no
awesome,
AI.
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's huge, man, because then, I feel that's like when an audiobook wise, like you're getting it on the personal level. And then if someone, people who listen to your podcast, it's going to sound like another podcast episode in the long scheme of things.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, man.
Perfect.
Well,
Appreciate your time.
absolutely. Congratulations on getting the book out. Good luck with getting the other ones out. I mean, I know it's not an easy thing to do. Got a family member who's an author, and it's a grind. It's a grind doing the research and putting all the work together, plus the videos and stuff. So keep putting that content out, brother. Keep putting that content out.
I enjoyed this tonight. You're a good listen. You're a good. I'm gonna tune into some of your podcasts because I enjoy listening to that Southern accent, and you got that good radio voice. So
smooth. You're gonna put. I thought you were putting at the end here. I thought you were putting Anthony to sleep for a second.
No, he's just got. He's a good listener,
everybody.
Man. There's some people out there that like just you prefer to listen to more than others. They just got that voice, man. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna definitely tune into some of your stuff, bro.
Nice, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome,
for sure, bro.
Doc, man. Check them out, Prometheus Lands. We're gonna take a quick break here and recap the episode.
Awesome.
That was a fun one, boys. We had our guy Doc Brown, Prometheus Lands. Go check him out. Real fun episode. He dives everywhere. He talks about Anunnaki. He talks to Stargate. He dives into Laurel Canyon, which is an episode I want to get into at some point. There's a lot of fun stuff on his page, so go check him out. A lot of fun chopping it up with these other podcasters these past couple of weeks, man, and just getting into the different conspiracies. We kept that one away from the political side of things, so just having fun with it.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot of books to buy, man. You know, like
absolutely.
In that trailer, and then after that trailer, that was like a Netflix hit series, you know, that trailer. So I'm excited.
Bro, that trailer was fine. That was a perfect way to end it.
Yeah, dude, that thing was sick.
It was cool.
Yeah, we're having a lot of bangers, man. A lot of bangers. A lot of people coming on. I hope people who listen are enjoying the education side of it from people who do real research and read the books and have the proof to back it up. And I mean, and at the end of the day, they're all theories, but when you get guys on like that have very strong backings, it's fun to listen to. So I hope everybody's enjoying it.
No doubt. There was a good comment, very nice comment from him. Just saying that it was a fun kickback conversation with us. That's really what we're looking to do. We're not looking to have we want to take the deep dives and have the crazy, conversations, but we don't want to have the uncomfortable conversations where we're pushing back with people and their theories. Like, I want to hear everybody's theory. Everybody's
definitely,
absolutely. This isn't going to be a debate show kind of thing. This is going to be, hopefully someone learns something, or go and do your own research, look it up, all that. Man, there's a lot of you got to do your own research.
Notes. I want everybody else to too. I take a ton of notes.
Like, dude, for this podcast, I find myself watching movies or documentaries and like have a notebook next to me now to like write things down. And like when I watched a couple weeks ago, when I watched Eyes Wide Shut, I was taking notes, dude. I had a notebook next to me, sitting there smoking a dude, writing notes. I'm like, like, look at this occult symbolism. Look at this. Oh my gosh, I did this. Like crazy little things that people just wouldn't pick up on. But now that I know what they are, you see them. But
when your eyes are wide open.
Yeah. And we're going to do fun episodes. Like, we're going to do episodes like this. We're going to take deep dives into, the crypt. We'll do some cryptid stuff. Trying to line up some guests like the Hollow Sky podcast. We might actually, I think our best scenario with them, because scheduling situations, is maybe do like a crossover live episode. They do a night shift on Wednesday nights. So maybe jump over on their live stream and have it go live on our end as well, or something like that. So
yeah, I'm down for that.
See if we can figure something out to that extent. Me and Anthony might have a location change coming up, a little different visual coming up here in the future. So
yeah, even just for here and there. I mean, we could still record from maybe one night,
just change it up to see if what the setup's like, and even on the local side of things, be able to bring guests in and stuff like that.
I'm down to check it out.
Situations like that. So, but yeah, make sure you guys go. There's a lot of listeners. Go take a couple seconds and you all listen. There's a lot of you on Apple. Take a couple seconds, scroll down, hit that 5-star review. Leave a comment. We will read it live on the podcast. will help us in the algorithm, as well as leaving a comment on Instagram on any of our posts. Just leaving a comment, hit that like button, repost button will help us out, get some recognition going. Also, check us out YouTube. Mikey's been crushing it for me on the YouTube, so check out the YouTube. And what else we got? Twitter, X. I'm gonna start trying to get out there a little bit more because you got a little bit more freedom out there. So get on the X and Twitter, and continue to try to give you guys some high quality guests with some good content information. So make sure you guys get the content out there as best you can, and we'll keep doing our end. You boys have anything before we close out?
Oh man, just another banger.
Love each other.
That's it.
That's it.
Stop watching
Dope.
the news.
Stop watching the news. Watch Conspiracy Chaos. We'll see you next week.
That's
Peace.
it.
All right,
Peace.
guys. Good night.
This is Conspiracy Chaos. Truth, fiction, or both? Let's dive in.